Hello, welcome to Sports World. Have your say with me, Amanda Davis, as Manchester United take the advantage in the title race. They're a point ahead after City slip up against the Swans, but Mancini's not giving up hope.
It's important at this moment we are strong, because when you are on the top, it's easy.
The goal that never was, what impact will this have on the battle at the bottom?
Clearly the ball was over the line. The linesman is there to see that.
We're looking back on 10 years at Goodison Park for David Moyes. And just how magical is Messi? Where do you rate him in the all-time list? I've got another master of his trade in the studio with me this week, waiting to talk to you. Leroy Rossignol is back with me, so why not get in touch? The conversation is well underway on Twitter and Facebook at the usual sites, and there's plenty of you getting in touch via Skype as well. Why not pick up the phone though and give us a call? +44 20 70 83 73 33 is the number as always. Let's just pause though for a summary of the latest news. You're watching Sports World, have your say. So, it is advantage Manchester United in the title race after victory over West Brom today. They won 2-0 and City were beaten by Swansea. So, for the first time in 5 months, they have been replaced at the top. And with 10 games left to play, United are a point clear. Leroy Rossignol is with me in the studio here in London. Let's welcome Stein, a QPR fan from Oslo, and Markel, a Manchester City fan based in New York. Markel, let's start with you. I think I'm probably doing a little better than you. Here we are on this Sunday evening.
You certainly are, aren't you?
What went wrong?
Wasn't the day for us today. You know, City has a lot of great players, but they didn't play very well today. We didn't take our chance at.
It's interesting because, you know, people have been saying it won't be about the players in the squad, it'll be about the managers. And do you think Mancini picked the wrong side today?
I don't think Mancini picked the wrong side, but I think he thinks that he picked the wrong side. You know, when he took off Gareth Barry and put Aguero on 37 minutes.
Well, don't you think that, I mean, well, he obviously picked the wrong side because he changed it so quickly. And I mean, when you start with the wrong team, it's really difficult to get into your stride, and that seemed to be the case with City today. They never really got going, even when the changes were made. But I think Swansea deserve a lot of credit for the way they performed. They tactically got it spot on, and they deserve the win in the end. Do you agree?
I don't know if they deserve to win the game. I think a more accurate reflection of how the game went would have been a draw. But they played very well. Swansea played extremely well, and you can't take anything away from them the way they played today.
Well, Azarea on Twitter has sent us a message saying Manchester City got players with the quality of champions. Manchester United have players with the attitude and character. Fergal Zunt on Twitter has said pressure will tell. Mr. Alex and team have been there before. But despite all of that, Roberto Mancini was still pretty confident that his team can win the title. Have a listen.
10 games, everything can happen that United lose. It's important at this moment we are strong, because when you are on the top, it's easy. After could be maybe a fair, but I think that is important that we be strong.
Well, let's just remind ourselves of how the top of the table looks as we sit here with 10 games to go. Manchester United are there a point clear of City after 28 games. City do, though, have a far better goal difference. Spurs in third now, 14 points behind, just 4 ahead of Arsenal, who play on Monday night. Chelsea fifth. Leroy, how important are those results today in the context of the title race?
Well, you could say it was pivotal, but it all depends on how Man City react. You know, because I heard some supporters saying that it's a massive blow, but I think you know what Mancini's trying to say, it's just a setback, and it's going to go right to the wire. It's going to go right to that game on April the 30th, which will be important, and there's going to be twists and turns along the way. But it's whether it is important to Man City's confidence. I think that's the key, because if they're confident, you know that they're going to come out and get results. If it's really hit their confidence, you look to the way David Silva performed today. He's not performing to the level that we expect. So can City bounce back and show the confidence that's needed to really challenge Man United? I think that is the question.
Stein, what have you made of what you've seen today?
I know the games. I'm, as you know, a QPR fan, so my day was yesterday.
What do you think of the quality of United and City at the top?
I think United have been there before, and I think they will win the title this year as well.
That's a view that has to be said is echoed by a few people. Let me have a look. Darpo here says on Facebook, United is on top. Chelsea have a new manager once again. Arsenal are in the top four and Tottenham are losing matches. We'll come on to them a little bit later. All is right in the EPL once again. High Priest Joel Asamoah Aduro says, I think United have the experience and players to beat City to the title. Mancini's men have blown their chances away. So Alex Ferguson wasn't quite that confident, but he was certainly pleased to be back on top of the pile.
I don't mind being top of the league just now. Quite happy with that. It's sort of clawed back from, I think it was 7 points clear there one time. Man City, we're now down to one ahead against them. So we've turned it around a good bit, and it's credit to the players.
Leroy, that's got to be the worry for Manchester City and their fans, isn't it? This is where United have wanted to be, and now they've got there at possibly the most opportune moment.
Absolutely. I mean, the key sentence there was, I'm quite happy to be at the top of the league. You know, and you looked at the Man United's performances this year, where they haven't played as well as they can do, and they've been right on City's tail. And all of a sudden, they find themselves top. Comfortable performance against West Brom. I thought I was very disappointed with West Brom, but I thought Roy Hodgson might go there and be defensive. But never mind, they got the job done. Whereas Man City, you know, a tough game at Swansea, didn't manage to pick up the points. But I do think that Man City deserve the respect that they've earned over this season, and that they are going to be there or thereabouts. They're not going to let this go. It's a massive opportunity to try and secure that first Premier League win under Mancini. And I can't see them just, you know, saying, look, that's it. And I think they'll get their heads down, and I think they'll perform a lot better in the weeks to come.
Yeah, what do you think? Please do get in touch with us. Is Leroy right? Is it going to go right down to the wire? Is April the 30th still that pivotal date in the season? Or is it United's title now in the bag already? Lots of you have been getting in touch. Peter and Pandy says, at last, order is restored. But wait, 10 matches can be a lifetime in the English Premier League, which is capable of throwing up more twists and turns than an Alpine road. Alba says, I think City deserved it. Their game was poor. They didn't show the spirit like United did. Herbert Herbina Banda says, bravo to Swansea. It's Man U, nothing. Gunners blazing. EPL number 20. Bravo. Bravo. And Aidan Paul has said on Twitter, fantastic result for Swansea. I suppose we need to look at it from their perspective as well. Can't see Manchester United relinquishing top position. Sir Alex should buy Rodgers a drink, and it does seem that that result today has secured Swansea's Premier League status for another season. They're now 14 points clear of the relegation zone, but QPR are well below that dreaded dotted line after their 2-1 defeat to Bolton on Saturday. It was a game that left the QPR boss Mark Hughes absolutely fuming, in particular because of a goal that wasn't, frankly. Clint Hill headed the ball over the line, but it wasn't given, and that result now means that QPR are in the relegation zone. Let's just have a look at Mark Hughes' reaction after the game.
Clearly the ball was over the line. The linesman is there to see that. That's what his job is. He's supposed to obviously make the right decision in those circumstances. If the ball is over the line, then you have to give a goal.
So the FA have been calling for the introduction of goal line technology as soon as possible in the Premier League after that. Stein, what was your reaction looking at that yesterday?
Actually, it was very disappointed. And from what I saw, the referee, I think the referee had a good view at the situation. And as he saw how the keeper reacted, he was stretching his arm backwards. And when he is standing on the goal line, his arm has to be in over the line. So I think it was a very poor decision by the referee.
The International Football Board are looking at this, Leroy, and we're expecting a decision to be made June the 2nd. But the more these incidents rack up, there is no way we cannot have technology in the football, is there?
Absolutely, we need goal line technology. There's no doubt about it. It's just about how quickly can they get it into the game. You know, it might be a year, might be 2 years. And I did feel for Mark Hughes and Clint Hill yesterday. But you know what? Yeah, QPR. I play for QPR, and they're close to my heart. But we can't just look at that decision as to where they are now. You know, and players harping on about this decision that cost them. After that, they had a very fortunate goal where Cisse was miles offside, and they got back to 1-1. And from then on, they should have gone on and won the game, but they didn't. And what we've got to ask the QPR fans is, after all these changes with Mark Hughes coming in and all this money being spent, you know, good professionals that they are, Clint Hill and Sean Derry are still integral to that team. That can't be right. After all the changes, you know, you've still got two very good professionals, but not Premier League players, still playing in that side, and QPR still not getting points. And there's been indiscipline, there's been poor performances, bit of bad luck yesterday, but QPR have got to start looking at themselves if they're to survive.
But when you're scrapping at the bottom, Leroy, you want to you need everything you can get, every help you can get, and that was shocking.
Well, yeah, it was, Alice. But the thing is, when you're Amanda, sorry, when you're at the bottom, you don't get that luck. You just don't get that luck. You have to make that luck yourself. And I looked at QPR, when they got to 1-1, they had chances to go on and win that game. They didn't take them, and then they made a really poor mistake for the goal, you know, in central defence. Klasnic just waltzed through them and scored the winning goal. Now, that wasn't anybody else's fault. That was their own fault. And so, you know, Mark Hughes can go on and deflect, as I see it, about the referee and the linesman. It was tough for the linesman. He was on the wrong side of the pitch. It happened so quickly. So I don't blame the Lions, but I do blame that there should be goal line technology. But QPR have stopped looking outwards and start looking inwards if they're to stay in this division.
Well, we're going to look at the relegation battle in a little while. We're just going to stay with the technology debate. There's two options being looked at that you can see on the side of your screen there, Hawkeye and goal ref. Io, what's your take on it? Do you think it should come into the game?
Come into the game. I definitely think goal line technology needs to come into the game. Like the referees and linesmen, they're human beings at the end of the day, and they've got a job to do. But I think the linesman should have seen the goal yesterday, because it was in very much. It was very much in. It was like about 2-3 yards in, and he should see that definitely.
Oh yeah, but the pace that it happened, and he was standing at the far end of the pitch with a post, two players and a goalkeeper between them, and it happened in a split second. I defy anybody to be able to see that. And I think what I do think is that the fourth official should have maybe looked at a replay of it and said, yeah, definitely goal, and just whispered in the referee's ear. That's the only way that goal could have been given. And if you have a doubt, you can't give in. So I don't blame the referee, I don't blame the assistant referee. It's one of those things that happens sometimes. And then QPR still had the opportunity to go and get a result. And, you know, again, they're blaming that on them not getting the 3 points. And I just see, I've seen it before at clubs, you know, when they come out and it's everybody else's fault apart from themselves. You know, and it wasn't anybody else's fault when Cisse got sent off and when Diakite got sent off. It was their own indiscipline. And that's why they are where they are on the table, Aya.
Well, I don't think they can blame it on the referees and linesmen yesterday, because they gave them a goal as well. It was a offside goal and Cisse scored it, but I didn't see them complaining. It was just bad defending. QPR, their defence is just not good enough, and they've spent a lot of money, but Sean Wright Phillips, Zamora, Cisse, and they've not really performed as good as they should, really.
Okay,
And,
well, Emmanuel Ojo says it doesn't think he should have goal line technology, but says this is where the FA should introduce extra referees on goalposts, as UEFA do, to put the end to a controversy like this. What do you think? Please do get in touch with us. We'll be carrying on the conversation in just a couple of minutes. Okay, you're watching Sports World Have Your Say. We've been talking about the top of the table. Leroy, we've just got to talk about Liverpool, 7th in the table, 28 points behind the leaders, 10 points off 4th, beaten by Sunderland yesterday. Just not good enough.
No, just not good enough. In more or less the same position they were in last year, having spent all that money. And I just look at that Liverpool side and I look at the players in that side and I wonder if they really are or should be wearing those shirts. Should they be representing Liverpool? And the answer is no. You know, Downing, Henderson, Cowell, Adam, are they good enough to be wearing that Liverpool shirt? I certainly don't think so at the moment. And then you look at Suarez's performances. You know, started off this season, you know, absolutely fantastic. But isn't he a little bit selfish now? If anybody's going to score, he is. He doesn't want to pass to anybody else at the moment. And that side looks really, really a shadow of the team that started the season.
You're watching Sports World Have Your Say. We're talking goal line technology. Let me put this to you. Tabora is in Gambia and has posted this on Facebook. Certain mistakes make football more fascinating, but goal line technology will make football very boring. Io, what do you think about that?
Well, I don't think it will make it boring because it only takes like the replays come in just about 5 seconds after the goal. So it shouldn't take a long time at all. So I think just a fourth official, as you said, can just give the decision and say, yes, it's a goal or it's not a goal. And that is it. They can move on from there.
Stein, do you have any concerns about the introduction of technology?
No, not at all. And I think it's been discussing here in Norway as well. And what has been discussed is a video challenge, which could be imposed quickly, because you have cameras all over the ground covering every angle, and if 2 challenges are given to every team, they can decide themselves when they want to use their challenge.
And so you're talking about a system similar to tennis, where and cricket, you get a challenge. If you get it right, you keep that number, or if you get it wrong, you lose it. Is that right? Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking about, and I don't see why nobody wants to be treated wrongly, so I can't see any opposite and nothing wrong at all with taking this new technology into work.
What do you think about that suggestion, Leroy?
Well, no, I just think that there should be goal line technology and then draw a line under it. You know, if you get managers having challenges, they'll be there all day and they'll be moaning all the time. They moan enough as it is. You know, goal line technology, for the most important fact, is the ball over the line or not, and then that's it. Because if you start bringing in other things, it just undermines the referee about him. He might as well not be out on the pitch, and it will make it a really it would be boring if everything was down to technology.
But the number of these incidents that we're talking in a season is minimal.
Yeah, and so that's why, but it's the most important decision in the game, is the ball over the line or not. So, yeah, and that's great. But we do want to talk about when referees make decisions that we don't agree with. And I promise you, when the referee makes a decision, you know, and people think, yeah, I'm 100% sure that he got that wrong, there's 50% of people say, well, I'm 100% sure he got it right. And that is the essence of the game. You need human error. Players make mistakes, referees make mistakes, and you've got to react to it. Otherwise, you're taking so much out of the game that we love. And so it's massively important that when we get goal line technology, that is it. I don't want any more technology in the game. I think it will spoil it.
Well, Mark Flawn has tweeted saying... Stein, sorry, do you want to come in there, Stein?
Yeah, I want to comment on that. And I think what we saw yesterday, probably the referee would have noticed in the after the first period that he got the decision wrong, and then he gave a compensation with the offside on Cissé. And I think also the referees would welcome goal line technology. It would make them sure, and they have an extra thing to support their decisions on.
Yes, Stein, I totally agree with you. They'd all want that, but I don't think they'd want like managers challenging their decisions all the time. They've got enough problems with, you know, players running up to referees and challenges their decisions during the game. And if you had that, what it says is that every decision that the referee makes, we're not sure of. Now we've got to this thing about respect. It's about respecting the decision and getting on with the game. And I think that's really important. And so, you know, I think it's really important that people don't say, look, we bring in loads of technology, because at the end of the day, if you do that, we might as well not have a referee. What do you think?
Yes, probably I made my statement a bit unclear, but this video challenge, it could be, for instance, when I said we have it today, video challenge can be used on when it's a goal disallowed or allowed, only in the goal area.
Oh, so instead of goal line technology. Well, yeah, I mean, I can see that, but goal line technology is going to come in at some point, and it's going to be in a split second. So, you know, I don't think we'd need that video challenge.
Well, Badr Kader has tweeted saying, wrong decision like the match yesterday. The referee should be fined. Kwapong_21 on Twitter says goal line technology should be brought into the game as soon as they can. Hawkeye would be preferred. And Mark Flawn has tweeted, as I was saying, potentially the mistakes made will prove a huge cost margins of sporting success are so narrow. One of QPR's players, indeed captain Joey Barton, has also got in on the Twitter act, as he loves to, saying big decisions all wrong. Refs saying don't blame us, the FA for not having goal line technology, sort of sums it all up. Hashtag baffled. So please do keep your comments coming in. Whatever the rights or wrongs of that yesterday, what it does mean though is that QPR are in the relegation zone. It looks like it's going to be 3 from 5 clubs going down: Blackburn, Bolton, QPR, Wolves and Wigan. We can just have a look at the bottom of the table there. They're all really tightly balanced, just 4 points separating the bottom 5. Wigan propping up the rest. They picked up a point in their 1-1 draw with Norwich today, joined by Wolves and QPR below the dotted line. West Brom and Stoke fall in a place today with that Norwich point. But who do you think are going to be the losers? Those clubs dropping out at the end of the season. Gary Neville's been writing in the Mail on Sunday about what he thinks we should be looking at. He says, how good are the forwards and can they score the necessary goals to lift the team out of trouble? How intimidating is the atmosphere at their home ground? Leroy, do you agree with those kind of criteria? What do you think we should be looking at?
I think he's absolutely right. Another thing is are the players concentrating on the job in hand? Unlike Joey Barton, because he's always tweeting at the moment, and looking at his performance yesterday, he was non-existent. And again, blaming other people for their worries, you know, because Joey Barton, he was out on the right, he went to centre midfield, he came, they paid him a lot of money, and he hasn't performed. All he's done is tweet most of the year, but he hasn't gone out and performed on the pitch. So I agree with Gary Neville totally, and that players have to be focused on the job in hand, not outside influences like Joey Barton is at the moment.
Stein, how do you rate QPR's chances of staying up?
I think we will stay up. I think Wigan, Bolton and Wolves will go down. And what Leroy says is, I'm totally agree. I was very disappointed when Barton was playing on the outside right yesterday. He should be the connecting link with the midfield and the attacking players. So Barton had a poor game yesterday.
I'm afraid not everybody agrees with you. Arman Younis has sent us a message on Facebook saying Wigan, Wolves and QPR to go down. Ampere Oscar says Bolton, Wigan and Bolton. Raymond says Wigan, Bolton and Wolves. Let's welcome Ivan, an Arsenal fan who joins us from Turkey. Who do you think's in danger, Ivan?
Well, what I think Wigan, Wolves and Queen's Park Rangers are going to go down at the end of the day. I've just been watching Wigan Norwich, and Wigan just doesn't have any options of how to come to get a solution to be able to survive in this league. However, if I'm going to employ the little superstitious nature in me, I get to worry for Bolton, because we've seen over the years, people who follow the Premier League for the last 10 years, that every year we've seen some established team go down. We've seen Leeds go down, we've seen Newcastle go down, we've seen Middlesbrough go down, we've seen Southampton go down, Charlton, and these were teams that at one time looked established. And if I'm going to really try to bring the superstitious part of it, I'm going to really worry for Bolton. But putting that aside, I really think Queen's Park Rangers, Wolves and Wigan are not going to survive the relegation.
OK, Ivan, for now, thank you very much. Jeff Wright has tweeted, not sure about the others, but I think Sparky will pull QPR through. What do you think? Please do get in touch with us. Send us a message via all the usual ways. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes here on Sports World. Have your say. Hello, welcome to Sports World. Have your say with me, Amanda Davis. Your weekly chance to tell us the score once the final whistle has gone. It is all change at the top or back to normal, depending on your point of view, as Manchester City are beaten by Swansea and replaced by United at the summit. But there's a real battle at the bottom as well. Which 3 of the 5 do you think are going down? We're wishing a happy 10 years to David Moyes at Everton and asking, is Lionel Messi the greatest we've ever seen? That one certainly got your juices flowing this week. Keep the conversation coming on Twitter and Facebook, or why not give us a call on the usual number, +44 20 70 83 73 33. I've got Leroy Rossignol with me in the studio this week. But before we get cracking, let's get a summary of the latest news. Hello, you're watching Sports World Have Your Say with me, Amanda Davis. We're talking the battle at the bottom and the battle to stay in the Premier League this season. 3 of 5 look like they're going down. Lots of you have been getting in touch with us already. QPR Caribbean says, I've waited 15 years for QPR to get back in the top flight. I hope yesterday's non-goal is not the difference in staying up. Philip Bangura says decisions like this make the game very interesting, but I think it's time for goal line technology. Bradley Isaac says QPR, Wolves and Wigan are going down. Wigan just don't have it anymore. And Jaspreet has tweeted as well, saying battle at the bottom is tricky. Any team which goes on a good run is followed by a poor one. Hard to predict who will go down. Leroy Rossignol is with me. And Leroy, it have to be said, though, that Blackburn are on a good run at the moment, aren't they?
They are on a good run, and do you know what? I think they're the squad who've got the least quality out of all those teams down there. But what they have got is real spirit. And that's what's going to get you out of trouble at the moment. And Steve Keane has had a terrible year in terms of the flack that he's received from supporters. But he's kept the players focused. And the one bit of quality they have got is Junior Hoyle. 2 great goals yesterday, and they deserved the win at Wolves. And I really am concerned for Wolves, and Terry Connor. Mick McCarthy goes and number 2 takes over. It doesn't really sit well with me. If you're going to make a change, then you're going to try and change things. I don't think too much has changed at Wolves. But for Blackburn, it's been a terrific run of results, and Steve Keane deserves some credit for that.
Yeah, and standing by your manager, well, it's shown what it can be done, I suppose.
Well, it can, and players as well, because when the new manager comes in, he wants to change the way the players do things. But the players are obviously got used to what Steve Keane wants. But the most important thing is that they're fighting for him. They care about their manager, and it shows on the pitch. And they really have put in the shift, apart from the recent game against Man City, well, they just rolled over, to be honest. But apart from that, they've put in a shift in every game, whether they've won, lost or drawn. And they find themselves out of the relegation places at this moment in time. And they deserve to be, because their performance have reflected that.
Well, talking of staying with your manager, Everton are a side that have had their fair share of problems off the pitch, but they go into this week's Merseyside derby just 2 points behind Liverpool, sitting 9th in the table after a 1-0 win over Spurs yesterday. So not a bad way for David Moyes to celebrate his 10th year anniversary at Goodison Park this week. Eric joins us, an Everton fan from Kansas. Eric, just put into context for us what David Moyes has done for you.
David Moyes has done a magical job with absolutely nothing, and it's just really amazing the amount of effort he gets out of so little.
Eric, did you ever think, coming to the Merseyside derby, that if you beat Liverpool, that you'd actually be above them?
Probably not 2 or 3 weeks ago. I didn't think there was much hope of us catching Liverpool for any amount of time the rest of the season. But with the 3 big, huge home wins over top sides that we've gotten in a row, we look really good right now.
Yeah, well, those 3 big wins, Manchester City, Chelsea and now Spurs at Goodison Park. Let's just have a listen to David Moyes after that game yesterday.
All you can ever do is win the next game, which is put in front of you. We beat Tottenham today, which was a great result for us in the Premier League. Keeps us moving forward, because with the league games we've got coming up, it's going to be very hard. So today's was a great result.
Well, Ivan's with us as well, an Arsenal fan from Turkey. A lot of people talking about what next for David Moyes. Where can he go from Everton? Would you want him at Arsenal?
I wouldn't want David Moyes at Arsenal, because I would really want him to remain at Everton. I must say that he's a manager that you really look up to, and you really say that there are really managers in this world who really know how to maximize out of really meager resources, and that is a person like David Moyes. If you can look at Everton over the years, the way Everton has been performing, Everton hasn't had much resources going into the market buying players like how we know of Man City, Arsenal, Manchester United, or even Tottenham. They've really had meager resources, but they've been able to really contain those meager resources and be able to produce results. And of course, now heading into the Liverpool game, of course, it's going to be very interesting, because with the derby, you can never predict how it is going to turn out at the end of the day. But I really think that Everton have really worked so hard, and David Moyes is the man to look up to. And all I can say to him is congratulations on achieving 10 years.
Ivan, by the way, I love the Uganda shirt, Ivan. But what I was going to say, being an Arsenal supporter, would you be worried if David Moyes was to take the job at Spurs down the road, your local rivals, if Harry was to get the England job. Would that really concern you?
No, it wouldn't concern me. I would really wish him the best. Of course, now considering the speculation of Harry Redknapp taking over as the England manager, you would really suspect that David Moyes would really be the big man for the job at Tottenham. And considering his track record of really getting the best out of players who are not really the best in the Premier League, I think given the kind of resources that he's going to find at Tottenham, the best defenders and some of good strikers like Adebayo in the Premier League, and you have people like Defoe, and you also have nice midfielders, he's really going to be able to really bring out the best out of Tottenham. I really wouldn't worry. Of course, at the end of the day, Arsenal will have to punish Tottenham. I don't mind about that, but I really think he can do a great job down at Tottenham. Yeah.
I saw Eric smiling there. Eric, were you smiling when I said that about David Moyes going to Spurs? Is that something that you're concerned about? Why are you laughing if you're going to lose this great manager?
I'm not really that concerned about it, just because of the system that he's got at Everton with all the youth and the academies that he's got going on. I really think that he's got a plan here at Goodison to be able to make Everton a competitive club. He's done so much without anything, and I really think that he likes the players that he's got coming up in the ranks through the youth teams. It's going to take a lot for Tottenham to get him away from Everton.
Well, Makaha Rotendo says a lesson for Roman Abramovich at Chelsea. Tanu Melvin Koalo sent us a message on Facebook saying he's been a good manager over the years. Hope if given a chance at a bigger club, he can perform and not end up like Roy Hodgson. Bossa Alex says through and through away a chance to be Fergie's second in command. Although he threw away a chance to be Fergie's second in command, Moyes can step in to the Scots' big shoes. Leroy, do you think he can step up and take one of those bigger jobs and be successful?
I'd like to see it, and I think I've been saying that you never know until somebody gets given the opportunity. Sometimes as a manager, it's easier to work without money because there isn't the pressure there. But I do think David Moyes would be one of those managers who would handle the money. I think he'd be very frugal as well, not unlike Arsene Wenger. And I think he'd be more expansive in the way that he wants to play the game, because tactically he's a very good manager, but he's recognised at Everton he can't play that expansive opening game because of the resources he's got. So he's a manager I'd love to see have a go with some money and no disrespect to Everton, Eric, but some better players.
Yeah, well, Eric, let me show you this that Bill Kenwright, the Everton chairman, has been saying. He says he is ambitious. I am hugely ambitious, but I've got to be realistic, and that's why I have to ask myself whether I can be the chairman for much longer. It's a huge club, and I have to find investment to take it forward. And Moyes has been talking about that big issue of taking the club forward. Do you think they have got what it takes for him to stay?
Personnel-wise, yes. Financially and resources-wise, probably not so much. But I'm really not worried about the Tottenham job. I'm more worried about Sir Alex leaving and he moving to Old Trafford. I think that's where he would take his next step as far as going down to London. But
Eric, Sir Alex has said he's too old to retire. He's going to be there for another 2 or 3 years. Do you think he can wait that long? I think the window of opportunity for David Moyes is becoming shorter and shorter. But if the Tottenham job was to come up now, don't you think he might go for it?
No, I don't think he would move down there with the opportunity at Man United in the near future, if that's even going to happen. I really think that he's at Everton. He loves Everton. He's not really going to just move down to Tottenham for a short stint to just then move back up to Man United. I really don't see that happening.
Simeon says he's been a brilliant coach given his limited resources. It shows he is a top quality class coach. Faisal says a good technician. I think maybe he can coach Manchester United one day. After all, he has the Scottish touch. Bad one for you here, Eric. Edie Skivis, when Everton will win the Premier League, I think the same day aliens from other planets will come on Earth. That's where we're going to leave it. Stay with us. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. You're watching Sports World Have Your Say. Barcelona's Lionel Messi made history this week. He scored 5 goals in a single game in the European Champions League. Also scored 2 for Barcelona on Sunday as well in their victory over Racing Santander. We know he's good, but just how good is he in your opinion? Can he be regarded as the best in the world? I've got Leroy Rocinha with me in the studio. Let's welcome Anna, a Brazilian fan in Washington, and Max, an Arsenal fan who joins us from Argentina. I think you're in Messi's hometown, aren't you, Max? How good is he?
That's right, I'm from Messi's hometown. Well, he's fantastic. There's not a lot of words to say about him. He's the best right now. And what the controversy here is often about how good is he in the national team. He's still criticized here, I swear, and that's about the national team. They demand here that he wins the World Cup in order to become the best.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have to agree with that. I don't think he is the best yet. I think he might be, but you know, the likes of Maradona did it on the world stage. And the thing is, Messi's with the best team in the world as well. Bayer Leverkusen weren't that clever either. But you know, Maradona did with Napoli, who weren't a great side, the national side, who weren't a great side, and he won the World Cup. So do you think, Max, that if he wins the World Cup with Argentina, then he will be the best in the world?
Definitely, that's all he has left to win. He's done everything but that, and I believe that he will stop being criticized if he does that. That's the biggest thing you can get as a football player, and I believe that that's what he needs. Yes.
I've got a quote here though that says saying you can't be the best in the world until you've won a World Cup makes as much sense as saying you can't be the fastest man on the planet without your team winning the relay. And he is still a very good player on his own.
He is a very good player on his own, but he's got the chance. He's with the team Argentina, and I do think it's I've seen some great players, but you do measure them by how they win and the impact they have on the world stage. Now you remember Maradona, it's almost single-handedly won the World Cup. Pele for Brazil was a massive influence in them winning the World Cup, and Messi has that chance as well with Argentina. So you know, it's not just about doing it at club level when you're with the best. He's been with the best team in the recent years consistently. It's about doing it when things are up against you a little bit, and that's where we want to see Messi doing it. And that is the criticism he gets in Argentina at the moment, that he hasn't been doing it. So until he does that, there'll still be a question mark over whether he is the best in the world or whether he can be the best in the world. But I mean, his performances at this moment, he's the best right now, that's for sure. But it is measured by what you win.
And Anna, I suspect you might put your vote in another direction.
No, of course you can't compare it to Pelé. As a Brazilian, I can't even go in that direction. But I totally agree with what Lionel was saying. Maybe this conversation is not fair for him right now. Maybe towards the end of the career, we can make that comparison. I think saying what a great player is, it's more than just how many goals they're scoring. Messi is exceptional in so many ways, but it's still hard to say if he's going to have the energy to keep up the good job that he's showing. So let's see. The World Cup is coming. Hopefully, he's not going to win. As a Brazilian, I'm not hoping for that, but maybe.
It's interesting. It's really interesting because you talk about, you know, it's not just about, you know, the way you play, how many goals you score. Zinedine Zidane would be up there as one of the best in the world, but because of what happened in his last game in the World Cup against Italy, people don't even speak about him because of, you know, that headbutt and getting sent off. And so it's important, isn't it, to have that kind of affiliation with supporters as well, like Pelé does, and like in Brazil, if Messi is to be up there with them.
Yeah, well, Pelé, let's just bring this quote in. He's told a French newspaper, Le Monde, when Messi scored 1,283 goals like me, when he's won 3 World Cups, we'll talk about it. It has to be said, that means that Messi has to score 50 goals a season for the next 14 seasons. So there is a pretty long way to go. But what do you think is the most important criteria when you're judging the greatest player in the world? Max, shall I put that one to you?
Well, there's not a single criteria to be taken into account. I believe that he's done anything that he was put on. He won everything with Barcelona. I think that he will win everything with Argentina, and all you can say is what's going to happen. You can't say he has not won anything playing with Racing de Santander, because he was never in Racing de Santander. He didn't walk the same path as Maradona, and he won't. but he in his own path will do all he can. I believe that he will be the best. I believe he's on his way.
Anna, what do you think would be the criteria?
I think goal is obviously an important criterion. If you're sticking to statistics, Pelé with his over 1,200 goals in a little over 1,300 games he played is almost 1 goal per game, and Messi is a little bit below, like 0.6 something per game he's playing. So if you're talking about just statistics, it might be not comparing apples to apples, but you have to take into consideration skills and techniques. And obviously Pelé, his skills are known, from his dribbling to his heading abilities to even just his control of the ball with his left and right foot. But Messi is an amazing team player, and I think it has to be taken into consideration. There's so many goals that he establishes a relationship with his team members to reach that goal, and obviously he's part of the game. But I think something that's important to be pointed out is that the pressure during a Premier League is very different than the pressure from the World Cup. So it's going to be interesting to see his performance in the next World Cup.
Yeah, Anna, I totally agree. I think statistics are important, but I think what is most important is a legacy that footballers leave, and that memory of that special memories, you know, of somebody doing something so wonderful that it had you off your feet, and it's something you'll never forget. Now, those players, Messi and Maradona, have done that sort of thing, and Messi has done things this year that I just think are absolutely amazing, and it would be just capped by him winning those trophies as well. But the most important thing for supporters is that feeling, that indelible print in the heart that he's made your life so much better by just doing some incredible things. And the people like Pelé, when I hear people talk about Pelé and I hear people talk about Maradona, and we won't be able to assess that until Messi, he's only 24 now, until he's at the end of his career and we see what he's achieved. Do you agree with that?
I agree completely. No, that's my words completely.
Do you not think the thing with Messi, though, is that he always does it with a smile on his face? He just seems a genuinely a player who is in love with the game, and you really couldn't see him doing anything else.
You have to totally agree, Amanda. It's the way you play the game as well. I talked about Zidane and him, you know, having that blemish on his record because of what he did in his last game. But the way Messi does it, you know, he's a little boy as well. He's small and he's so graceful. And you know, it's like football's been taken to another level. It's been turned into an art form, and it's just something you just watch in awe. And you know, these players, there are not many players, and we should really make sure that we cherish these sorts of players and we look after them, because they're so special. And Messi is certainly up there with them.
It's certainly one that's divided opinion, this one, on Facebook and Twitter. Bradley Isaac says Messi is the best in the world, but can he win the World Cup? Well, we'll see in Brazil. Nobis says Messi is never the greatest because he couldn't bring any silver or bronze to the national team. Zakari, though, says no doubt Messi is the best ever. Hate it or love it. Who else? Daniel AFC Sims says, I've seen videos of Puskás, Di Stefano, Pelé, Maradona, Cruyff, Platini. None of them come close to Messi. Io is with us. Io, who would be your best player ever and why?
Well, my best player is Messi. Messi is the best player. Like, obviously everyone says Pelé scored about 1,200 goals, but he scored those goals in the Brazilian league, and that was like years ago. Now it's a modern game. Things have changed. Like, it's a new setting, and Messi does it every time, week in, week out. Even today, as we are speaking, he scored 2 goals already. He won the match for Barcelona 2-0 against Racing Santander. He's a very good player. He's done it against Manchester United in the Champions League, Arsenal, Chelsea. He's done it everywhere. So against Real Madrid as well. So this guy, I think, is the best. You can't compare him to any other person, really, for me.
Ivan, you're shaking your head.
Is that we all agree that Messi has been a great player, and there's absolutely no doubt about that. But I want to bring to our attention that any prolific striker with the likes of Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, and of late Fabregas is going to put those goals at the back of the net. I want to look at a scenario like Messi moving on to maybe the Premier League, face physical sides like Stoke City or even Bolton.
No,
First, wait, let me drive my point. Well, let me first drive my point home. Because really, sincerely speaking, he's been in one team. For example, if you look at Maradona, for example, Maradona proved himself in Sevilla, in Napoli, way back at Boca Juniors, and even and could even prove it at the national team, winning the World Cup in 1986. Okay, let's look also at modern footballers, Zinedine Zidane, Thierry Henry. These are players who proved it in at least more than one league. Thierry Henry was in Arsenal, he moved on to, but when you're bringing in Messi, Messi has been in one league, let him come to the Premier League. I want to see him in Italy. I want to see him in Germany. Let him prove that he can face defenses and be able to score those goals.
For me, Messi doesn't have to leave. He doesn't have to move. He doesn't have to move teams to show what he could do. He shows you already. When you watch Messi, you know what he's about. He doesn't have to go to Spain or come to England to play against Stoke City. Stoke City don't win every match. So some people say, oh, let him come and play in the rain, in the winter and stuff like that to see what Messi is about. When you watch Barcelona every time, and sometimes, like you said earlier, you said Xavi and Iniesta performing and giving him the ball. But look at Pele in the World Cup. He had Zico, he had players like that giving him the ball as well to score the goals. So you can't just say because he's not come to other leagues, he's not good. No, he's the best.
Oh yeah, it's just good to see Arsenal supporters arguing between themselves. But one thing you have got to take into consideration is that when Pele was playing and Maradona was playing, defenders could really tackle. They could hack them. You know, and in the modern game, they're not allowed to tackle as much. So it's a different game in those days, and Pele and Maradona had to deal with that side of the game, whereas Messi hasn't.
Well, for me, Messi still handles this kind of pressure. He doesn't mind. He gets kicked. He still gets up. He's the best.
Well, Charlie, 1983, says all the greatest players in the debate played in different eras, different skills were required. Paul says he's just better compared to others of his generation. To be the best, he must prove this on other leagues and teams. Please do carry on the conversation all the usual ways, but that's it. I'm afraid we've run out of time. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Goodbye.